We just heard from Secretary Hegseth, Secretary of State Rubio, the rest of President Trump's leadership team in this operation to talk about why it's so important that we stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. That's been the objective from day one. They talked about some of the threats. Obviously, I can't go into the things that were discussed in a classified setting, but they've been very clear what the mission is. And of course, we know they complied with the War Powers Act, which some previous administrations didn't even do, but President Trump has done that. And he's operating under his legal authority to keep America safe from the threat of a nuclear Iran. And let's not forget that this is a regime that has killed hundreds of Americans over years, over decades. This has been going on for a long time. Iran's declared war against us decades ago. Whether or not we were going to deal with this threat, something a lot of American presidents talked about. President Trump actually took decisive action to keep America safe from a very tyrannical regime that not only killed their own people, but has killed Americans over decades and would continue to do so, and had made it clear their intent was to get a nuclear weapon, and they chant death to America. And this president recognized that threat and did something about it, and we appreciate that he's done that as we pray for our troops who are carrying out this important mission. Take a couple of questions.
Your Democratic counterparts have said that they did not hear enough of a plan, that there's not necessarily a plan for the day after, that there's not a deep plan for protecting Americans that need to get out. What do you say to that in response?
Well, maybe they don't want to hear what the plan is because they just don't like this president. They seem to root against anything he does. But everybody's acknowledged the threat that Iran has posed to the world and specifically to the United States for decades. People in both parties have done that for a long, long time. Some people have ignored the threat, but the threat was getting worse. Their ability to enrich uranium, to develop a nuclear weapon, had been growing, and everybody knows that. And this president finally did something about it.
Over the summer, the White House said that they had obliterated Iran's nuclear program. Was that bad intelligence? Were they misinformed?
We know Iran not only had multiple facilities where they were developing nuclear weapons, but as soon as that operation was over, it was called Operation Midnight Hammer, I believe, Iran went right back to work trying to develop a nuclear weapon. And, by the way, not only drones, but ballistic missiles to carry out nuclear weapons. And if you look at some of the negotiations that were going on prior to this operation being carried out, the president and his diplomatic team, led by Secretary of State Rubio, had been trying to reach a diplomatic solution for months. And Iran had taken every ability to negotiate, for example, enriching uranium off the table, the delivering of ballistic missiles off the table. They made it clear they had absolutely no intention of stopping the push, the mad rush to get a nuclear weapon. So even though that operation was successful, they went right back to work trying to develop a nuclear weapon and enriching uranium, and they had multiple locations where they were doing that.
Was there a request for a supplemental, and could the House pass one?
There was early talk of a supplemental, but we're not at a stage where any of those numbers could be discussed. Look, you're going to see a robust debate about this over the next weeks and months. But the American people are looking at this too, and they're wondering, is the world and America specifically safer with this Iranian regime gone? And when you look at their abilities that they were moving and advancing on to get a nuclear weapon, what would they have done with that when they are chanting death to America? Take them at their word, because they have killed hundreds of American troops over the last few decades, and they were continuing to do that. This isn't some new threat. It's been an ongoing threat, but the threat was getting more imminent.
Nuclear weapon. Netanyahu, for over 30 years now, has been saying they are imminently going to get a nuclear weapon. A decade ago, he was saying they're weeks or months away. Anthony Blinken, Biden's Secretary of State, said they are weeks away. So for decades, they've been apparently weeks away. So how do you expect Americans to believe now that this was actually the time when they were about to get it and we struck at the perfect moment?
I don't speak for other countries, but if you listen to what President Trump has talked about, our intelligence has shown that Iran had become very close to being able to deliver nuclear capabilities. And after Midnight Hammer, they still were pursuing nuclear ambitions to go and kill them and do harm to Americans. And they were making it clear. Just listen to what Iran was saying. They were telling you what they wanted to do. And again, these are the same people that were chanting death to America, because that is what they wanted to do with nuclear weapons. And that's why President Trump has made it clear you cannot have a world where Iran has a nuclear weapon, because yes, they're a threat to a lot of countries, especially in the Middle East region, but they're a direct threat to America, and they've killed Americans for decades. And they had no intention to stop. Even with diplomatic means, they had no intention of rolling back those plans. So President Trump is carrying out a very important mission that's making America safer. And we're praying for the safety and true effectiveness of this mission. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leader.